I'm here with my friend Stu Davis from COSILoveYou, and we are partnering with this organization here in the city and wanted you to get an opportunity just to hear a little bit more about that partnership and some of the things that they're doing. Stu, we love what you guys are doing here in the city. Tell us a little bit about the mission of COSILoveYou here in Colorado Springs.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. I mean, it's such a thrill for us to be partners with churches like Mountain Springs around the community. And formally, the way that we talk about what we do is these two words of uniting and igniting local churches so that every woman, man, and child in Colorado Springs experiences the tangible love of God. And that tangible part is a big deal to us. These acts of service that actually meet a practical need is something that we focus on a lot. But then informally, we talk a lot about really bringing the church and the city to an intersection, creating collaboration and conversations that allows the faith community and the civic community to really work together on addressing some of our community's bigger challenges.
Yeah, I love the tangible part of that, because in a lot of cities around the country, there's organizations like yours that say, hey, the church needs to do more, but they don't give practical ways, tangible ways that you can do that. One of those coming up is the Backpack Bash that we're in partnership with you guys on that. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, this was really birthed out of, the many different kinds of back to school events that happen around the community in different parts of our city at the end of the summer, beginning of the fall. Some are charitable, some are just fun. And so months ago, actually a few years ago, we started dreaming about this idea of bringing a lot of those things together to serve a larger group of people, a larger number of families, but also as a way to really drive collaboration between nonprofits, ministries, local charities, churches, and businesses who all want to do their part to give back. So this coming fall, actually in just a couple of weeks, August 1st and August 8th, we're going to be having these locations where over 10,000 kids are going to get a great start to the school year. And frankly, what is going to be the most challenging start to the school year that I think all of us can remember, just by getting some of those helpful things, supplies and other services at a number of these locations around the city. So it's been really wonderful to watch this collaboration happen again between so many different parts of our community as we come together.
Yeah, and we're a host site here on the east side, so I'm excited about that.
Yep.
And you're right, this is the weirdest start to a school year ever. I mean, these kids are really looking for stability. This is a chance for us to do something like that. The last several years in the fall, you've had a day where you've challenged churches around the city to come together on one day to serve our community with City Serve. I know things are a little different right now with the virus, but you're looking ahead for City Serve for this fall. What's that going to look like? What are some ideas for what we're going to do with City Serve this fall?
Yeah, the reality is City Serve Day has always, we have hundreds of projects, frankly, around the city. The vast majority of them are 20 to 25 people or less. Some of them as small as just a handful of folks. So we're really continuing to plan for City Serve Day almost as normal. We'll continue to take some of the health and safety precautions in mind, but the majority of those projects will still be small, limited in size. So it should be very feasible for families to serve together alongside perhaps a few other families from different churches in different parts of town. So we're continuing to move forward. You guys will hear a lot more about it, and we would love to make sure that as many people as possible are out serving on City Serve Day at places across the community, just keeping in mind some of those concerns that I know are going to be present in a couple of months.
Do we have a save the date for that yet for this fall?
Yeah, it's always the first Saturday in October. So this year that falls on Saturday, October the 3rd.
Excellent. And I think a lot of people get an idea in their mind that this is a giant group of people, like 2,000 people gathered to clear a park. And I love that you reminded us that a lot of them are small projects, like small groups of people can go, they can be safe, and they can still be involved in this and impacting our city. That's really good. I want to ask a question. This might be a little bit of a hard one for you. We had some tension in our city probably about 8 months ago racially because of a shooting. And then obviously all the protests that have gone on the last few months. I know COSILoveYou has been right in the mix of this. What's been your role in some of the racial healing that we're trying to bring to our city?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it is a difficult subject to talk about. One of the things that I'm really proud of about our organization is actually over a year ago, we really made a concerted commitment amongst our board to diversify our board and really make sure that we were hearing from, listening to, and representing the many different kinds of voices within our local church. And so really as of last fall, we had already invited several new board members to join us. And so amongst the ministry-oriented nonprofits that I know of here in town, we probably have the most diverse board that I'm aware of. So half of our board are minorities, a third are women. All of them are senior pastors or leaders of local ministries here in our church, in our city, including a few civil rights leaders and a few others who have been prominent members of communities of color here in our city. And that has really allowed us to be able to enter into a deeper conversation in our city. It's given entree for the church and Voices of Faith to be at the table with our mayor, with city council, with some of our county commissioners, with our police chief and others in our city who really are doing a lot to try and address these, but also with local leaders, neighborhood representatives that are on the ground in a lot of these parts of town that have been hit hardest by some of these issues around racial justice. So it's been a fascinating journey. It's been a very difficult one, but it's one where I've been pleased to see the church start to enter into more of. And so we've been given the opportunity to bring other churches from different parts of our city into those conversations to say, how can we best, again, continue to be our city's greatest advocate and partner in some of these big challenges, including racial justice. So it's been a tough journey, but it's been a great one.
I love that you guys had already been proactive in pursuing relationships, because so much of this is driven by relationship.
Yeah.
And you were already doing that. You were already there. The voices had already been established. And I think it's going to be a huge thing in our city as you play that role. When we're talking about partnership with you, we hear about the Backpack Bash, City Serve, some of those kind of things. What's the best way that a church or an individual can actually partner with 'Cause I Love You?
Yeah, well, from a church perspective, I'm really glad to say that you guys are already doing it. I mean, you've been all in, and frankly, from the very beginning. So for those who may not know, Mountain Springs is a monthly financial supporter of what we do, in addition to partnering with us on things like the Backpack Bash, City Serve, some of these events that we do. For other churches who may or may not be in a position to do some of those things, just the ability to advocate and show up at the table to some of these conversations and collaborations that we do, it really starts there. And then that begins that process of just building the relationship. For a lot of individuals, we have a pretty robust platform on social media. We do a lot of things with our newsletters, with videos. So just following some of those things, following along in the conversations that are happening at that intersection of the church and the city, and then finding ways to get involved. One of the things that I'm really passionate about, that our movement is really passionate about, is helping move believers bring their faith into their Monday through Friday thing, not just their Sunday thing. So if we have electricians or entrepreneurs, or we have trade skills people or professionals in whatever arena they find themselves in day to day, can they bring that thing to serve others in our city? And those are things that I would love to have more conversations with people about, is bringing that Monday through Friday expertise, insight, experience to help serve other people in practical ways in our city.
Yeah. I've only been in town for a little over 2 years, and I've watched just in the 2 years the momentum with 'Cause I Love You just continue to increase. I'm excited about what it's going to look like in the future. I'm really glad we get to partner with you. Thanks for sharing this time with us. Mountain Springs, thank you so much for the way you partner with our city. We talk about having a heart for the city. We talk about giving through the church, not to the church, and you continue to do that. So let's continue that with 'Cause I Love You as we move forward in this partnership.